Hello and welcome to the channel. Welcome to Maki's Closet. On today's tutorial, I'm going to be sharing with you how to cut and sew this simple beginner friendly corset gown. So if it's your first time viewing my channel, please hit on the subscribe button, and if you're a returning subscriber, thank you for always supporting my channel. So let's dive right into today's video. So now here is my pattern and I merged it together to get one piece. So while cutting, I added ½ inch on this part at the cup side, at the center, and ½ inch below. Please do not add by the side because you've already added your sewing allowance. So I cut out the fabric, iron gum stay to my lining. So on my cup, I went ahead to add ½ inch round it. I cut out my lining and I cut out my bra foam. So I'll also illustrate how to use an already made cup when you're sewing yours. So I cut out this part also for the other side of the cup, and I went ahead to iron gum stay on the lining. So for the yoke, we'll be cutting it while we are actually sewing this dress. So now this is my pattern and we are going to start working with the cup first. Now to work with the cup part, you're going to separate your cup this way, and after that, whatever you do on your material, your fabric, you're also going to do it to your lining. So now you're going to place your bra foam or wadding on this. But if you're using an already made cup, you're going to go ahead and join your pattern first, your material first, before adding the already made cup. So now we're introducing the cup B. So please, when you're placing your cup, please be careful before you misplace it. So while even placing it, you can go ahead and notch it to know the right places to place your cup. So if you're using a wadding or a bra foam, you're just going to follow this process. But if you're using an already made cup, go ahead and iron air stay to your fabric, especially if it is very light. So now I'll go ahead and iron this and stitch on it, but I'll do that inside because I don't have any source of light here. So I'll go ahead and place my cup and I'm going to stitch with ½ inch and I'm going to top stitch. On this other part, I'll repeat the same process and I'm going to join with ½ inch. So after joining, this is what my cup looks like, and I'm going to go ahead to cut out the excess that I have on the joining part. So sorry, my video is a bit bright at the other part. I didn't know that the light was much while videoing. So I'll also go ahead and I will trim this off also. So after trimming it, this is what I have. Go ahead to iron yours out. So I ironed mine inside. So now let's say you're using an already made cup. After joining this, you're going to go ahead to sew a 3 inches dart on your cup and you're going to place it. But if you're busty, it is advised for you to use a wadding or a bra foam to join your cup first before using an already made cup. That way it's going to hold the bust area very well. So now we're going to go ahead and introduce this part of the corset. So you're wondering why we are not creating boning channels on this first. I'm going to do that later. There are so many ways of creating a boning channel on a dress. So I'll go ahead and fold it into 2 and notch. So I mistakenly notched the wrong part, so I'll place my pattern on it, move it ½ inch a bit, and I'll notch the part that has the joining. So I'll use this other side to notch this part, just to know where the joining on the cup is going to be. So that pointy part of your cup, go ahead to notch it. That is where your cup is going to stop. So now I'm going to go ahead to join my cup. So while joining it, if you notice that the space you have is a bit smaller, go ahead to notch your cup and join with ½ inch so that it's going to fit what you have. So I'm done joining it and this is what I have at this point. As you can see, it is looking very neat. So now we are going to be creating our boning channel. So now to create my boning channel, I'm going to top stitch it on top of the fabric and I'll be creating 3 boning channels at one side. So I'm going to start where the joining on the cup is. So I'll fold in ½ inch this way. Then I'll go ahead and stitch Then after stitching, I'll fold it over and I'm going to top stitch, then top stitch on top, then follow the line to the lower part of your dress this way. So after doing that, I'll create another boning channel by the side. Go ahead to fold on top just like we did, and you're going to go ahead to stitch, then fold it in just like I said, and you're going to fold again, top stitch at the upper part of the corset and take it down to the lower part. So I'll create the third boning channel for this. So the same process I used for that, you're going to use to repeat and create all your boning channel for your pattern. So after I'm done creating my boning channels, this is what I have. So sorry I could not show you because my machine is actually inside the house. So this is what I have, and now I have cut out the yoke. So for the yoke, I added 1/2 inch at the neckline, and I just cut out one piece actually. So you can go ahead and cut out 2 pieces and just turn it up. So I added 1/2 inch at the neckline, at the shoulder, and beneath it to join my dress. So now I'm going to go ahead to join it to this part of my corset. So from that part, that the lower part of your corset and the cup meets, that's where you're going to start. So go ahead and pin it with 1/2 inch, but you can easily stitch this up with half. This is actually an easier way of joining the yoke of your corset without it folding. So just go ahead, place it and stitch, but if you cannot stitch directly, please go ahead and pin. So now I'm done stitching this side, and this is what I have. So now I'm going to go ahead to join the other part. So starting from where your lower part and the cup starts, that's where you start joining, and join with 1/2 inch. So I'm going to go ahead and join that at the sewing machine. So after I'm done joining, this is what I have. As you can see, is looking very neat and simple. So for the neckline, you can go ahead and turn it with bias, or you can go ahead and fold it if it's easy for you, or if you cut out a double yoke, go ahead to cut that. So I've gone ahead to turn the neckline of my dress. I actually folded it, so it might not be easy for you. Just go ahead and turn it with a bias. So now this is what I have at this point, and now you want to go ahead to join this other part of your corset, that's the lining part, to the main fabric. So remember, like what I said, whatever you do to your cup part, to your main fabric, go ahead and do that to the lining of your dress. So I've gone ahead to join the lining of my dress. This is what I have. I ironed gum stay to it, but the gum stay was not sticking very well, but by the time I stitch it down, it's not going to shift. So now find that point where the body of the corset meets the cup, and you're going to start joining your corset. So go ahead to pin and sew if you're going to find it difficult to join this way. Go ahead and pin your corset before sewing if you know it's going to be difficult for you to just easily place and stitch. So on the other part also, I'll go ahead and repeat the same process. So stitch on that first line you use in joining your yoke to your material, so that you won't be having double stitching on your corset. Now that's where the pinning comes in. So if you know you can't maintain that line, please go ahead and just pin and the lining, and then follow that first line you used in stitching the yoke and the fabric together. So after I'm done sewing, this is what my corset looks like, and as you can see, it is looking very neat. So if you have any questions so far concerning this tutorial, please leave your question at the description box. So now I'm going to place my material together. Now I want to join this part. So make sure that the lower part is matching and the upper part is matching also. So I'm going to start stitching with a pinch and end up with 1/2 inch. So why I'm going to start stitching with the pinch at the part where the cup is because of I don't want to join some parts of the cup together. So I've gone ahead to stitch it, and I stitched only the fabric part first. So I have a reason for doing that, because we're going to create a boning channel to cover that line first before we go ahead to stitch the lining of the dress. So just like I did the other part, go ahead and place, and I'll cut out the excess I have. So please make sure this stops exactly where the joining at the center stops. That way is going to cover the line very well. And please avoid stitching on your cup while you're also sewing. So now after I'm done sewing that, this is what I have. So now I'm going to go ahead, turn the lining, start stitching with a pinch from where the cup is, and then I'll end up with 1/2 inch, just like when you're sewing your dart. So after that, I'm going to flip the sides and merge it with the lining and stitch with 1/2, merge the other side and stitch it with 1/2 inch. So after I'm done stitching, this is what I actually have, and we're done sewing the front part of this corset. So now I'll go ahead and pass all my boning through the boning channels that I have created. So go ahead and do yours. So when you're passing your boning, please do not pass the boning till it gets to the end. You can go ahead and leave about 1/2 inch, although this is a sewable boning, sorry, and you can stitch on it, but to get more comfortability, please just leave about 1/2 inch at the lower part. After passing my boning, we'll be moving over to the back pattern. So right, this is my back pattern. I added 1/2 inch at this part and added 1/2 inch at the upper part and lower part. So I'm going to go ahead to turn out the yoke of this dress. So I'm using the fabric to also turn it. So I'll just go ahead to place it this way, and I'm going to stitch on it, and also on this part I'm going to stitch on this part. So repeat it also for this part, and I'll be adding like a loop to one part of this dress. So after turning the yoke, this is what I have. Now we're going to work on the lower part of this pattern. So I folded in the dart, so take notes. So I'm going to go ahead to notch the zipper part so that I don't go ahead and join the wrong side. So also go ahead and notch where your yoke is going to start, because that is where you'll be placing your yoke. So I'll go ahead to open up my pattern, and this is what I have, right? So now go ahead to place your yoke this way, and you're going to stitch with 1/2 inch on it. So after stitching, this is what I have. Now we're going to place the lining part on it, and we're going to stitch. So now this is the lining, and this is the gum stay that I have cut out. So I don't have any source of light here, so I'll go inside and iron the gum stay to the lining. So but before I go ahead and do that, I'm going to explain to you how to stitch the back. So I'll flip my yoke inside, that is inside this way, and I'm going to take the lining, and probably after ironing it, I'm going to go ahead and place it on it this way. That is, the yoke will be in between the main fabric and the lining, and you're going to go ahead to stitch it this way, and also repeat it at the other side. So after I'm done stitching, this is what I have, and I'll go ahead and I will create boning channels on it. So after I'm done creating the boning channel, I'm going to go ahead to pass my boning channels through it. So now to stitch up this part of my dress, this is the skirt pattern. So I'm going to bring the lower part of the skirt and the lower part of the lining, and I'm going to stitch it up together. So after I'm done stitching it at the upper part, I'm going to fold it up this way, like I'm going to fold it up just to create that turn up effect that is always at the lower part of the skirt. You understand what I mean? So if you don't, please ask at the comment section. So I'm going to go ahead and measure about 1 inch and measure about 1 inch. So this is not a standard. You can have like 1.5 or 2 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch by the side, and I'm also going to stitch at the other side. So after stitching, this is what I have at the skirt. So go ahead and repeat this also for the back pattern. So this is what my skirt is looking like. So this is the back pattern of the skirt, and I've also gone ahead to turn it. Sorry, my video is not too bright at this point. So from the upper part, I'm going to go ahead and measure about 6 to 7 inches for my zipper allowance, where I'll start my zip. So from that point, I'll go ahead and place my tape, and I'm going to mark 1 inch. So this 1 inch, sorry, this 1 inch I'm going to mark. I'm going to be stitching up my skirt at that point. So you know, at the back of your skirt, you join your skirts together. So now we are going to go ahead to join this part of the dress to the lower part of the skirt. So this is what I have at this point. So before I go ahead and join it, so remember that our skirt has like a little basque waistline of just 1 inch on it. So go ahead and fold your skirt and find the center and place together. So you're going to move in that 1 inch this way. Just watch what I'm doing, and you're going to go ahead to trace it out. So after tracing it out, you're just going to go ahead and cut that part off. So after cutting it off, you're going to go ahead and mark the center. Go ahead and place the joining at the center. That's the center of your skirt to the center of the upper part of your corset, and join with 1/2 inch. So at this part also, you're going to join the upper part of your dress to the lower part of your skirt. So go ahead and place the zipper side, stitch with 1/2, and place this side and also stitch with 1/2 inch. So after you're done stitching with 1/2 inch, after joining it, you're going to bring the back and you're going to join it to the front. So go ahead and use the back and wrap the front and stitch with 1/2 inch at the shoulder line. At this other part, go ahead and also place it, and you're going to wrap the back and stitch with 1/2 inch, and then I'm going to attach my zip to my dress. So the next step is to go ahead and cut out the sleeve of the dress. So to cut my sleeve, I folded my fabric on fold so that I'm going to cut 2 of my sleeves together. So I'm going to place my tape, and I'm going to go ahead and mark about 1/2 inch. From that point, I'm going to place and mark from my shoulder to elbow line, and then I'm going to go ahead to mark the full length of my sleeve. So at my elbow line, I'm going to mark my elbow circumference divided by 4 plus 1/2 inch. Now at the sleeve length, I'm going to go ahead to mark my sleeve circumference divided by my round, what I have round my wrist, divided by 2 plus 1/2 inch. So I'm going to connect it down to my elbow. So I'm going to go ahead, measure what I have at one side of the armhole of my dress, and now that is what I'm going to use and cut out the upper part of my dress. I'm just doing a freehand sleeve, so I'm just going to draw it out. So if you're wondering what you use to fold your sleeve, please measure around your armhole. Whatever you have, divide it by 2 and add your stitching allowance. So from that point, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to connect. So when you're done measuring your armhole round, you can add about 1/2 inch, just in case if that part is a bit shorter than what you have round your armhole. So after this, I'm just going to go ahead and cut this out. After I'm done cutting out, I'm going to notch the center, and I'm going to go ahead to place it right side facing the right side, and I will stitch it up and repeat the same thing at the other side of my sleeve. So I'll go ahead and stitch it down. So next, now you're going to go ahead to shape your dress. So now you're going to pin it down, but I'm going to just show you how to shape the dress and then go ahead and do that later. So mark your under bust. So place your tape from your under bust, get your bust points, and after that place back your tape at your under bust, mark your waistline, and after marking your waistline, go ahead and place your tape, and you're going to measure 7 inches from there. If it's a much taller person, go ahead to use 8 inches. So now you want to go ahead to shape your dress. Now to shape your dress, you're going to measure what you have at the bust circumference. So what you have at the bust circumference, you're going to actually minus it from your original bust circumference. Like my bust circumference is 33 divided by 2, I have 16 and a half. So after I'm done minusing and I have 2 inches, so I'll share that 2 inches at both sides of my bust. So I'll be having 1 inch at both sides. So now on the under bust, what I have is 17. My under bust circumference is 28 divided by 2, I have 14. So if you minus that, you'll be having 3 inches. So you're going to mark 1.5 at both sides of your tape. So I have the same measurement at my waistline, so I'm just going to extend it also, which is that 14 inches. So now going to the hip circumference, my hip is 40 divided by 2, I have 20. So whatever I measure at this point, I'm going to share the remaining at each part, and I'll go ahead to mark. So after that, I'm going to go in. Remember, at the knee point of this dress, we went in to give it a fitting. So you can go ahead and mark 1.5 inch or 2 inches depending on how free or fitted you want your dress to be. So I think I went in by 2 inches, and I'm going to mark it at both sides, and after that I'll go ahead to shape my dress. So after I'm done sewing, this is the final look of this dress. So if you find this tutorial very interesting and educative, please hit on the subscribe button. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, and see you in our next video. Thanks.